So, today is National Stress Awareness Day, and while some degree of stress is normal, it can be unhealthy when it upsets your day-to-day ability to function.
That's absolutely right, and joining us live in studio with some tips for managing stress is Dr. Thea Gallagher, a clinical psychologist and assistant professor with NYU Langone Health. It's always great to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Happy to be here. Love being here.
Looking stress-free with twins, apparently.
And a 4-year-old?
Yeah, you know what? You got to manage the stress to manage all that, right?
You're clearly doing it right, so help the rest of us.
Exactly. So you said it. Important to manage our stress. What kind of effects can long-term stress have on us?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, because stress starts to affect your sleep, and then it starts to affect your eating, maybe your drinking behavior, maybe the way you're responding to other people. It can ruin relationships, all of that. So it's kind of like a cascade effect that can start to impact a lot of areas of your life. So that's why it's really important to make sure you're managing it in like a lifestyle way. It can't just be something you do once in a while. It really needs to be something that you implement, like healthy eating or exercise or things like that.
Right.
So one of the first steps is to know what the triggers are, right? And then once we find those, then what happens?
Right, so knowing what your triggers are, if it's that, like, even thinking about the holidays coming up, you might think, okay, I have all these obligations, I have all these responsibilities, all these things I have to do, and knowing, okay, that's going to make me stressed out. How do I manage that ahead of time? How am I intentional with what I'm taking on and what I'm not taking on? And saying no can be really powerful, just knowing what your capacity is and not taking on too much because of obligation. But just knowing those triggers can be important, and documenting what they are over time can be helpful too.
What if the trigger is, and I know this is easier said than done, but for some, a trigger is family. And so I think a lot of us are right now thinking about, oi, we've got Thanksgiving, we have all these holidays, and I am going to see my trigger.
Right.
How do you head that off at the pass so that, you know, the Christmas tree doesn't end up on the street?
Don't disown the family, by the way.
Right, exactly.
Right. I mean, I think you want to expect some level of emotional, like, ups and downs, right? It's a lot. It's a lot of great. It's a lot, you know? And so I think we can also have some tough emotions, and we're around family who triggers us and that sort of thing. But I think it's really important, like you said, to head it off at the pass, to make sure you're taking care of your self-care, even with all these obligations and things going on. Make sure you're carving out that time, that you're not, like, sacrificing things that you need, like your sleep or working out or time with your friends or time to read or time for yourself, just because there's all these obligations coming up. So I think it's really important to have that one-on-one time with yourself.
So I guess that sort of falls into that pseudo factors that are out of your control that cause stress. Now, how do you manage that? Because you can't change those things.
Yeah, that's something I work with people on all the time, like tolerating the uncertainty, tolerating the unknown. Asking yourself this one simple question can be helpful, like, what can I control, what can't I control? Because that really illuminates what you have power over, and then when you realize there's some things that I just can't do that much about, you have to just allow them to be, and then you can give active steps to small things. Like if you want to, you know, do something in your community, then you can kind of take an active step. But we can't kind of change all these large global problems.
Short of all those fantastic tips, eating, exercising, being restful, having a safe word or a safe person, which I do. I'll call my girlfriend and be like, if I call you, that means you have to call me back and say I have to take a very important phone call. Yeah. Are there any apps that you can recommend for us and our viewers? Do you?
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, I think you want to find the one that works for you, right? There, you know, people like Headspace, people like go on YouTube. There's a lot of free resources to just find something that shows you how to breathe. You can do like square breathing or learning breathing retraining. Some, you know, apps or things walk you through visualizations. I think finding what works for you can be really helpful. But there are a lot of great apps out there, some that cost some money, but a lot of free resources there. So.
Fantastic.
All good advice, Dr.
Come
Thea
back
Gallagher.
before Thanksgiving, yes.
There'll be more stress coming,
Asking
that's
for
for
a
sure.
friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you
Gallagher.
so much.